channel. This is a neighbor's bike. Lives next door, and he's been asking me about working on his bike. I thought I'd give it a look. His chain came off and it's stuck in there pretty good, so I'm actually going to take off that chain guard because it's stuck right between the two. And it appears the issue is the derailleur is not hanging straight. See that? So I'm going to take it off and see if I can get that a little bit straighter. Maybe clean up some of that, grab them off that chrome. That pie is probably in pretty good shape, I bet. Those hubs are definitely covered in grease, and the rims are steel rims, Araya. So this bike right here appears to be very much like a Panasonic plant bike. I bet you it was probably made there. It's very similar to the Latours. It's got basically the same kind of frame. It's got the Diacomp center pull brakes just like the Latours. Dual stick shifters. It's got the Nitto alloy stem on it. And these bars appear to be alloy as well. It's got the Weinmann dual position levers, which are exactly like you see on the Schwinns, including the gray cables. So this thing could have been a Latour without all the additional Fuji logos. So this one's a Sports 10. I googled it when he first showed it to me, and this appears to be like a 75 or 77. I think it's the years I found for it. KKT pedals, and again SunTour derailleurs on front and back, and then it's got that crankset there. So I'm gonna play with it and maybe give it a little bit of a cleanup just to make it look a little bit better. All right, so I took off the chain ring, a little rusty there, but that should clean up. Got the chain on it. See the smaller chain ring back there, hanging there. And I turned the crank without the chain on it, and it's really smooth. So it might have been re-greased at some point. Now the issue I think definitely is the derailleur is pretty bent. However, I don't really see the metal pieces right here being bent, because that comes out of that piece right there pretty straight. So unless the second part needs to move over a little bit, because it's quite an angle difference. See that right there? So I want to see if I can find images of these derailleurs, see how they're supposed to look right there at that joint. Here's one that's similar to it, and you can see how that's running really straight with the gears. That's the way it's supposed to look. So let's see. We'll went ahead and remove the derailleur to get a better look at it. And looking at it off the frame, you can see that the actual hanger is what's crooked. That looks pretty straight, and then if you look straight down at it, you can see how these should run in the same line right there. So you can see right there is bent. I want to see if I can straighten it. I found one online for like 30 bucks. I'm not sure if my neighbor wants to buy it. And it's in really good condition. It looks like it was never on a bike, so it's like original vintage equipment. So let's see if we can straighten it up a little bit. And I went ahead and played with the hanger itself. And as you can see now, the pulley wheels line up. So that's much better. Once I put the cable in, it'll pull it underneath that first gear. So I'm gonna try it. But I think I might clean up some of this crap. I hate to put this back together and not get rid of that. A few hours later, went ahead and cleaned it up, detailed it a little bit. Went ahead and got the derailleur on there, and seems to be working pretty good. Derailleur's in line now, and it shifts throughout the gears. I'll give it back to my neighbor here tomorrow, and I'm gonna actually test it, make sure it's working. Clean all the wheels and all the chrome basically. I just went through it, detailed it a little bit. It looks much better. So tomorrow I'm gonna wax the paint a little bit. I washed it with some soap and water and got most of the grime off of it. And check out this head over here. This was pretty caked with grease. Got it all out of there. So definitely much better. And I am gonna go ahead and put some new brake pads on it. The ones that he had were pretty stiff, so they probably wouldn't brake well. So I got a bunch of extra brake pads. So Saturday morning, it's ready for a test ride. I went ahead and adjusted the gears so they go to all the different sprockets on the freewheel. Should be good to go. Did a little wax on the paint, came out much better. Got rid of a lot of grime and different things like that. And I went ahead and put the brake pads on it as well. I want to put a little bit of oil in it. I cleaned out the chain real good, so I want to make sure it's nice and lubed out. So that's it. I'm gonna take it for a cruise and see how it feels. Alright, just to finish out the video, I thought I'd take a few shots out here. I took a ride on it, it rode really good. So she's good to go. Went through all the gears. I adjusted the saddle a little bit after I rode it because it was kind of pointing up and it was kind of uncomfortable. And then I noticed that this brake lever here was turned in a little bit, making it hard to reach that second position lever. So now I straightened it out. So again, it was more of a cleanup maintenance. Chain had fallen off the bike and got wedged between the chain protector or the chain guard and the chain ring, so it was wedging there pretty good, so I took it out, and that led to just start cleaning after I put it on there. And initially, as you saw earlier, the derailleur got pretty messed up and it was not in line with the gears, and now it is. Again, ride's pretty smooth, and it reminded me a lot of the way that the Latour feels, about the same weight. And again, I'm pretty sure these lug frames are all probably made in the Panasonic plant in Japan somewhere or nearby, because it's very similar to Latour. So I would consider this bike in the same range of the Latour as far as price and value. And so I'm sure this was a replacement tape. Somebody put it on with the tape on like that. That's a cork tape. It's very comfortable. If this would have been my bike, I probably would have done some research and find out what kind of tape it had originally. Probably had a cloth tape more than likely when it first came out. Looks like that rack's also an aftermarket rack. You can see the reflector used to go there and they put it over here, which is probably a good idea. I'm not a rack kind of guy, so I probably would have taken that off if it would have been my bike, but I guess it would come in handy if you're going to make it a rider and pick up stuff with. Cable settings are very similar to how Schwinn does it, with the rear going underneath. And these don't have the stops, they just have the full cable with clips. And then the front cable does go right to the center pull brake from behind the bar, just like the Schwinns do. I had to raise that up a little bit because the handlebar is kind of low, and I noticed when I was playing with it, see how that cable is a little frayed there? It was touching right up against that headset, and it was causing a bad angle, so I went ahead and moved it up a little bit. So my neighbor should be happy, and he'll have a nice rider going forward. Alright guys, thanks for watching.